The road to Auraxis. Everything changes. First contact. Immortality. 8 simple syllables. And yet they changed everything. The Republic had been around for more than 1,000 years. It was the single most durable government humanity had ever known. A representative government, providing a dependable standard of living for all its people, stabilized by a ruthless control of science and communication. Education was granted to all. However, subjects furthering in science were only taught by the Republic behind closed doors, and only to students that passed specific aptitude tests. They were an elite caste that could not, upon penalty of death, fraternize with non-scientists. The Terran military existed to control these scientists and theoretically quell the masses of humanity should they ever revolt. But then came Auraxis. Its existence was forever hidden from the people of the Republic, a secret held only for the highest ranks of the military and the scientists they kept in order. But on Auraxis, there were no masses to quell, no information to withhold, just the military and the scientists, and they talked to each other a lot. The possibility of first contact with another race, one so seemingly advanced, offered much potential for humanity. It could be an incredible opportunity for humanity to understand and ascend to new technologies and understandings. Hostile contact, however, would lead to Earth once again band together to meet a new global threat. No one could predict how contact would unfold. With so many possibilities, no one agreed on which outcome to prepare for, and as such no solution could be decided upon. The arguments, escalating day by day, began moving scientists and soldiers into different camps of thought. And now suddenly, we had discovered immortality. The Republic executed the mutinous drop pilot 6 more times before giving up, realizing he wasn't going to remain dead. Every time they destroyed him in various degrees of extremity, he would simply reappear on a warp gate platform moments later, increasingly angered that he'd been killed again, but otherwise none the worse for wear. The pilot was examined with every instrument at their disposal, down to his very DNA structure. He was psychoanalyzed, forced through countless IQ tests, and was subjected to intense emotional and physical stress tests. At the end of it all, he did no better and no worse than he had done before being repeatedly executed. For all intents and purposes, it was exactly as if he had never died. They concluded that he wasn't restored at some pre-saved state of being. He revived each time exactly as he had been just before he was killed, completely healthy, rested, and without aches, pains, or hungers. But why did he come back? Careful measurements of the platform from which he revived revealed a small amount of energy being used, but it was similar to the amount of energy used when an object was gated through from one continent to the other. The question lingered: what exactly was causing this phenomenon? The Republic, in the need to further their studies, acquired a thought crimer. This man, once part of the expeditionary personnel, persecuted for his independent ideals, was selected for scientific experiment. He was executed, and he remained dead. The obvious assumption was that the pilot's passage through the warp gate had somehow attuned him to some global immortality design. They selected another thought crimer, of which there were no shortage due to growing, sometimes enraged arguments over the growing issue of first contact, and made him step through the gate. They then executed him once he arrived on the other platform. Moments later, his new location was broadcast in the center of a large swamp. He had been revived and warped to another location. Eventually, the warp gates were just too attractive of an option. Even the Republic sanctioned their use, since none of those people were ever to return through the wormhole anyway. They considered it a test on a massive scale, and the test was successful. The gates became highways for travel around the world, and all those that went through them became free of the worry of death. Military minds dreamt of unbeatable armies, and scientists began to realize that a life's work might be only one of many projects, and their minds soared. Yet, they still did not understand how it all worked. It wasn't until the discovery of the nanite that they started to piece the puzzles together. The energy they had recorded before seemed to drive small nanoscopic robots in the fabrication of transported personnel and equipment. But scientists were also shocked to discover that these nanites were also the cause of defabricating objects and people moments before they are fabricated elsewhere, creating the illusion of teleportation. While the scientists could not understand how nanites dispensed the resources used in fabrication, their effectiveness in this regard was indisputable. This monumental discovery only stirred the growing arguments. Military minds now explored possibilities of supplying and recycling their immortal army. Others considered the ramifications of a fabricated person. Was the original person truly lost in the process? Were these machines the denizens of Auraxis? Or were they simply a tool left behind? Only more questions arose from the discovery, and with more questions came more discussion and debate. The population of Auraxis continued to divide. Enterprising scientists and corporations managed to use the discovery to create prefab facilities around the globe. They had devised ways of shunting the warp gate energy to directed nodes at those facilities, allowing revivals and fabrication to occur at specific facilities. This efficient reclamation of material allowed rapid and reckless use of personnel and material with little to no impact upon the otherwise pristine Auraxian ecosystem. But all this progress only led to the most efficient wars in human history. The wormhole unexpectedly closed, and the inevitable war broke out. The supply convoys from the homeworld had already started becoming less and less frequent. Although having managed to activate and reverse engineer the nanites' construction protocols, this mode of construction relied on the unpredictable stream of free-floating nanites in the atmosphere. Auraxis was still highly dependent upon regular supply drops from the homeworld. The future, which the people once entrusted to the wisdom of the Republic, was, for the first time in their lives, uncertain.